What's up, guys? I'm sWs. Welcome to Shootin with Shane, Season 3, Episode 4. And it's actually really appropriate that it's Episode 4 because with me is good brother. This man needs no introduction, but I'm going to do the best I can to give him the introduction that he deserves. 20-plus year independent professional wrestling veteran, Justin Danger. Brother, how you doing?
How you doing, man?
Man, bro, I'm really happy to have you on. I know we've been chilling for a few minutes before the cameras started rolling. Obviously, huge wrestling fans. You know, we share a little bit of a background. We'll get into that and some old school times and days, years gone by, if you will. But I will say, man, there are episodes that I look forward to. I look forward to all my episodes, but there are a handful out of the year that I do because I do one a month, and so I do 12 episodes a year. Out of those 12, I am ecstatic for at least 3 to 5 of those episodes, and this is one of them. So again, brother, thank you for coming in, making the trip down to do this. Obviously, you've seen the show, you know how this works. We're gonna get the open shot in, and then, brother, we're gonna jump into some stuff because I told you I got a couple curveballs for you too.
All right.
Got a couple curveballs, so we'll jump into that here in just a minute. But guys, again, Justin Danger, I'm super fucking excited to have you here, bro. All right, brother. Cheers to you, to a great episode. All right, man. I want to start off right here just because this is fun for me. I told you I got a couple curveballs for you. Now, I know, was it last night or night? Yeah, I think it was the night before last. You, myself, and DeVille were talking about the old EWF arenas and stuff like that. You sent some photographs, and I actually got a couple pictures here. So go ahead and take a look at those bad boys.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought that was really cool, man. I thought it was really cool when you sent those.
That right there is the only picture I have with me and another guy that's been on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I was trained old school that you don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays it's changed where everybody's like, hey, can I get a picture with you? And, you know, they're snapping pictures. Then you didn't do that.
Yeah, because back then, like, when you seen a guy like that, you just
stayed away from him.
grumpy
old grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't fuck with him unless he talks to you. Then you talk to him, you know, whatever. You do what he says. That's how I took it as.
Yeah.
I also started when I was like 13. So that's all I knew.
Yeah, and like
whatever these guys are telling me, that's all I know. So I didn't do this.
But
I did take that because Raven was such an influence to me.
And we're going to get into these two pictures here in a second, just so you guys are clear of what we're talking about. These were sent. Okay, this is Justin Danger, very young Justin Danger, with professional wrestling legend himself, Raven. Dude, that's cool. Check that out. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I want to get into Raven just because I know you and I share the love for Raven. Tremendous athlete. Every gimmick he's done has been flawless in my opinion. He was for guys like us, punk rock kids.
Yeah.
You know, he was that misfit rebel. He was an early version of Jeff Hardy.
Era.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what he was. He was the grunge era.
What I want to know first is, I want to start with this picture when you got the picture. So let's go ahead and start. You go into the arena that day. Now again, this is EWF. Okay. You walk into the arena. Did you know the night before, a week before, a month before you were wrestling Raven, or did you find out when you walked in? Let's hear the story about how you met Raven and got this photograph.
I knew that I was working Raven.
Okay.
I knew he was coming. I knew that I was wrestling, but it was more like maybe 2 weeks. It was a rumor. Then the week before, it was, okay, he is coming. So I had butterflies from that point until I walked in. When I walked in, they just got worse. Worse, like, the worst butterflies ever. Like,
how old were you in this photo?
I would say,
because you're young there.
18.
So 18, okay. So you're 18 years old, you walk in, butterflies are hitting harder than ever. You know Raven's in the back.
And he wasn't there when I always got there early.
So okay, he wasn't there yet. Okay.
But when he did get there, you know, he just walked in, shook hands, you know, he walked on. I didn't say nothing else to him because I literally couldn't. I couldn't say nothing. So then I'm just, you know, hanging out and stuff didn't happen the way it should have. So he was angry in my opinion because that's what I was thinking because, you know, I'm 18.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous, worse than before, because I think I'm just gonna get my ass handed to me. We get in the ring. He's light as a feather. Talks to me the whole time. You know, puts me over more than what I was.
Yeah.
More than what I could have on my own. He put me over. He let me hit the DDT on him. He kicked out. He hit me with the DDT. I can't because, you know, Raven's DDT. It'll break your neck.
Yeah, of course. The even flow, man.
Yeah. But, and then he got up, and this picture right here is the one where he gave me the belt back.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want the belt. He gave it back to the kid, and the kid ran with it.
And I know, like, that riding with you, we'll get into that a little bit with riding with you because it's always a pleasure, my friend. But yeah, going back to this photo, him raising your hand, you know, like you said, he didn't want the belt.
No.
He didn't want the championship. You know, there was another photo that you sent where you were actually walking through that brick style ECW version entranceway with the title, and I like how you wore it, how the title was backwards. You have the backwards strap on. But I know that we've talked before too. When you first talked to Raven, you know, 'cause you told me that he was sitting in a corner by himself, and then you're over here going, "Damn, it's about match time. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. Should I go talk to this guy? Should I get?
And
hey,
see,
how are we
that
working
was my
this match?"
thoughts 2 matches before our match was, you know, I really need to talk to him. But I don't know if I should. You know, most of the time, guys would come up to me and be like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," because you know, I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I was doing. At that point, I could hold my own in there, but they just saw me as a young kid, so they told me. Raven didn't tell me. Match before ours, he goes, "Hey kid, you ever watch me?" "Yeah, man, I know all your stuff." "All right, good. I'll just tell you out there." Okay. Well, I'd never done that before up to that point.
Right? Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay.
Kind of calling it on the fly, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we go out there, and like I said, he walked me through everything. You know, it was the best match I've had.
Yeah.
With a guy's help like that.
Mm-hmm.
Best match I've had on my own isn't that. You know what I'm saying? But it showed me how to do it. It showed me how to really put together a story of, you know, the match.
Yeah.
And it showed me the ups and downs of the roller coaster of a match and what it should be, rather than just hit move after move after move and not make sense.
And I know you and I talked about that kind of too, like move after move after move after move. Like you guys kind of went out there and told a story.
Yeah.
And then with Raven giving you the championship back, saying, "Hey, I don't want the title, like give it back to the kid."
It came full circle, basically.
Yeah. And like, okay, so talk about full circle. How cool was it, man? Like, obviously that, you know, that you're wrestling Raven. You've watched this guy on TV from ECW days to at this point would have been roughly like Ring of Honor days, I feel like CM Punk dog collar match, Ring of Honor days. And I know Punk has went on record many a times. I've watched a lot of interviews, read a lot of interviews. He has said that Raven was the first guy to actually sit him down one-on-one and actually talk to him and teach him something about the business. Can you kind of like feel maybe how CM Punk felt in that moment? Like, was Raven that, like, not first guy to sit you down, but was that a moment to you where you're like, damn, I just learned so much from this guy just by talking to him for like 30 seconds?
Like, honestly, now that you say that, yeah, because he showed me no matter what happens behind the scenes, once you go through that curtain, that's what the people paid for. It doesn't matter if you're not getting what you should have or what you wanted. It's when you go through that curtain, you're the character that they know you as. And then when you come back through the curtain, you can go right back to what you was. But for that 15, 20 minutes that you're out there in front of the fans, you're that character, and it doesn't matter what's happening 5 seconds ago. Or, you know, whatever. As soon as you go out there, you flip that switch and you go out and you do your job, basically. You come back and make the fans happy, and then you deal with whatever you deal with. And I never thought about that until, like I said, you just asked that question, and it's one of those things where, that was actually one of the things that I picked up, even though I wasn't able to talk to him because I was so nervous and everything.
Of course,
Looking back on it, I can see that I actually learned quite a bit from just being around him and
having that like 60-second conversation.
Seeing what happened in that night in the back. and then seeing what happened once we went through that curtain. And then, after it, I was just still starstruck, and, I got the one picture,
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah.
But, I know you referenced, going through that curtain, and obviously, I do managerial stuff, and then I was the voice of ACW, stuff like that. I know, like, to the fans, they don't understand, like, you show up to the arena, and no matter what you're going through in your personal life, you may be down and out that day, or you might be on cloud nine,
Yeah.
But when you're standing in, what's called the gorilla position, no matter where you are, it's the gorilla position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're standing behind that curtain and your music hits and you walk through and, in your mind, you do flip a switch, Me playing music and stuff like that, that's what I did with the crowd and stuff like that. How hard and how easy is it for you to flip the script as far as being a face and being a heel when you go through that curtain?
Honestly, a face and a heel, I can do it mid-match. I can go out there and I can try and get the fans behind me, but if they just don't want to get behind me and they want to boo me, all right, I'll make you boo me then.
Okay.
And whoever I'm against, I'll let them work face. And it's just like, both my entrances for face and heel are the same. It's just whether or not I yell at the crowd or I cheer with the crowd. I'll get you to clap for me, or I'll get you to tell me to shut up. One of the two.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing when I come out. I throw the 2 fingers up for victory and the 4 down for life.
Yep.
And I come out, and that's when it depends on what I'm doing. I'll yell at you and tell you to shut up and sit down, or I'll just stare at you until you say something. I'll make you say the first
provoke
word.
you, and then you just
without even saying nothing. Like Al Snow used to say, when you come down the ring, you don't slap hands, you don't say nothing, you just get in the ring and do your job. That's your job, is inside the ring. Outside the ring is, not what you're trying to do. You're trying to do what's in the ring. So the long entrance around, yelling at each member of the fans, and stuff like that, yeah, you can do that. But a lot of the guys are like, no, don't just slap hands, just get in the ring. If you're a face, get him behind you.
And if you're not, then get him against you. Well, and it's weird that you said it too, because like, you have some, some guys, you're talking about how, you don't slap hands, like entrance, kind of thing. There's a lot of guys that come out, man, they'll come out and they're just like, oh, here we go, like guns blazing, boom, boom. You automatically like look at that guy and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to cheer for this guy.
Yeah.
For you, like, I've had the pleasure of watching you work heel, and I've had the pleasure of watching you work face.
Right.
Like you said, man, your interest doesn't change. You know what I mean? You obviously come out to a banger of a song. We'll get out of there here in just a second. But you come out to a banger of a song. But yeah, when you walk out, man, it's 2 up, 4's down, and everybody's kind of looking at you like, well, I don't know.
And
and then
songs that I use, there's a lot of like heavy bass, and it's something that you can tap your foot to, start clapping before I even do anything. You can, the whole crowd can be clapping, and I'm coming out as a heel. They can be just clapping to the song because the song has a clappable beat. Well, whenever I'm ready to start my match or start my actual entrance, that's when I'm going to tell you all are idiots and clapping for me. That's right. You should be on your feet clapping for me.
Right, exactly.
I'm a wrestling god.
Yep.
Stuff like that. It's just
yeah.
It's just that easy with that type of song. Or if I want a face, I come out and you're already clapping. So all I gotta do is move my
just
feet,
go into it,
my fist,
right? Exactly. And people are gonna be like, "Oh man, we're gonna get into this," because okay, cool, like this guy, okay, yeah. See, and and I think that's like the thing too, like with like going back to what I was saying earlier, like with guys who come out who's just like boom, but they're just they're in it, they're ready to go, and I know we know some guys like that. They just come out, man, and it's just like, here we go, But then you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do a name drop, first name drop of this episode. Damien DeVille, a good brother of mine. Ryan, he comes out, man, and you really don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He kind of has like your mentality. Johnny Crisis is another guy. Really don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Johnny has a smug, no offense, Johnny. He has a smug, arrogant look no matter what.
No matter what. Exactly.
Because
whether he's a face or a heel.
He looks like a Randy Orton coming out.
That's a good reference too.
DeVille is a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't stand in his way. It's like a Taz thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stocky, kind of short, put together. you don't stand in his way. He's going to run you over.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why he's had belts, multiple belts. You know, and DeVille's one of those guys where you see him and you're like, he's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I should be afraid or, you know, on his side. And then you go,
cool.
Dude,
Like, exactly. Yeah.
And that's just one of those things where I've never had the wrestler body, but I've always had the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of those things where I almost have to show you and make sure you know what I am, rather than I come out and you're just going to look at me and instantly, you know, cheer. Oh, this is a wrestler. You know, I'm not a wrestler. I'm like you. I'm like the people in the crowd. Yeah. If I come into your town sucks. Well, you suck too, because I'm in this.
Because I'm in this. Exactly. You know? And that's the stuff that like I use too, man. Like, you know, recently going Hill. I mean, good Lord, dude. I remember. I know we've talked about this before. I don't know if you guys have heard this story or not, but I remember the first time that I got put in the position, to be the voice of AACW Professional Wrestling. They were like, you know, I get to the arena and I'm hanging out with all the guys, and then all of a sudden you get word, you're like, hey, you're the first guy going through the curtain.
What, in wrestling, and you get word of something like last minute?
And I'm like, wait, what? I'm going through the curtain first. And they're like, yeah, dude, you're going through the curtain first. Like, you're our voice, you're our baby face, go do that. And I'm like, okay, then this is what I'm doing. So of course, you know, true story, first time, man, where Gorilla was, I was able to sneak off out a side door, and I was able to go smoke a cigarette. And man, I bet I smoked like 3 cigarettes in a row, because I was like, fuck, we got like 30 minutes before bell time, and like I'm the guy starting the show up. You know, you got your theme for your event, and then I'm the first guy going through that curtain.
Yeah.
And that was the scariest moment for me, because I'm like, man, I've done this 100,000 times in music, but like, this is pro wrestling. This is different, you know. But man, going out, you know, flipping that switch, doing the thing with you. Walking out, obviously you said, you know, you can play face or heel. When you walk through that curtain, what's some advice, man, you can give to these young guys who, you know, I know we were talking earlier before we started filming. When you go through that curtain, it is a different feeling. Like, I don't think the fans are there for one reason.
Like The Rock says, the electricity of the fans, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a buzz that you can feel. Like, you can feel the crowd. You can feel how they are. And that's what, when you come out and you feel that moment, stay in that moment as long as possible. Mm-hmm. Don't think about what you're getting ready to do. Think about nothing. Like, just play. Up till you get in the ring, then it's time to get serious. As soon as that bell rings, that's when you get serious. Before that, you either yell at the crowd, you dance around, you try and get people up out of their seats to dance with you, you know, stuff like that. Play your gimmick, whatever your gimmick is. You play Duck, Duck, Goose, you know.
Kenny Urban.
Yes.
Kenny Urban and Goose. We were talking about that here not too long ago, man. And if you guys don't know who that is, he's a AWE guy. You guys, and actually you can check out AWE on Facebook. Kenny Urban and Goose, man, he's a good example of that. Like you were saying, playing Duck Duck Goose. First time I saw that guy, I rode with you to Michigan. We went to AWE. We had a couple other guys in the vehicle. We won't mention their name right now. We had a good time. We get to the arena and everything was like super cool. And then I actually wasn't involved in the show. Me and another guy was not involved in the show. We were sitting in the crowd. And I saw Kenny Urban and the Goose for the first time.
The Goose.
And I was just so blown away. Like, I wanted to buy everything he had, because what I took from that, I mean, you had a great match with Tanner. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I know it's a little bit of a sensitive subject for you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
But yeah, I remember seeing my first ever Duck Duck Goose. Swear to God, people, Duck Duck Goose in a professional wrestling ring.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there with a good brother, and the next thing I know, Duck Duck Goose breaks out, and I just remember everything that I took from that show that night. I took it all in, man, like I always do. Whether I'm involved in the show, in the back, doing commentary, whatever, doing my thing, I always take it in. And, you know, trainings are the same way. I take that shit in, man. But I took away from AEWE that night, Kenny Urban and the Goose. And I remember we talked about that on the ride home because he literally took a stick and a goose head and he got it over.
Yeah.
And the fans, it's like the Mr. Sacco, like we have talked about before. It's like
Al Snow's head.
Al Snow's head, yeah. It's just
it's just a prop that you come out with. Even like Jim Cornette's tennis racket, Jimmy Hart's megaphone.
Yep.
It's just something they come out with, but he got that goose head over so much that it's Goose with Kenny Urban.
Exactly. It's not Kenny Urban with Goose.
Right.
Goose is over
Goose.
now.
Yeah, it's the Goose with Kenny Urban.
And who would have thought that, like a styrofoam goose head? Because when the crowd sees it, I mean, like when the crowd sees the stick go through the curtain first, that's the first thing you see. Exactly. When you're sitting in the crowd and you're like a 5 to 8 year old kid and you see this damn goose head pop out of this curtain, you're like, what the hell's happening?
Al Snow used to do that with head. He would pop head out. He'd get the biggest pop, and then he would come out, and it would be the same pop, but it'd be the head pop.
Yeah.
The head was over so much. The goose is over so much.
Yeah.
That's what gimmicks can be over.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy gimmicks can be over.
Yeah.
If you know how to do it. Mm-hmm. You have to invest into that gimmick to be able to get that gimmick over, whether it's you or a prop that you use. Mm-hmm. Either one, you can get a broomstick over.
Absolutely. Kenny Omega did.
I mean, like, just little stuff like that is the stuff that now people don't realize because they watch now wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they think of past wrestling, they're thinking of the Edge of Christian, the TLC stuff.
Yeah.
That's what the old wrestling to them is. You go a little bit farther and you'll see gimmicks, like even bad gimmicks.
Yeah.
The guy could have got it over, but just the fans just shit on him so bad.
They just want it, yeah.
But you can still get a trash man over. You can get a
I was going to say, look at the old WWF days. Okay, so you brought up the hockey player. That was...
the Goon.
The Goon, exactly. He came out in hockey skates,
yeah,
full hockey gear.
It was the gimmick.
Like, if you had Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
That dude could take it up to Canada and be over.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if he went there and faced like Jericho or somebody, or faced Kenny Omega or Jericho or Edge or Christian who's from there, instantly over. Like, they'd have been all about that.
Yeah, he's a Goon, so he's going to try and just cheat and
and it's like look at the gimmicks that they had back then, man. Talking about the Goon and stuff. You had Duke the Dumpster Drosy. He was a trash man. Yeah. You had Nails. He was the Joker for Boss Man's Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, at that time, because it worked. Like Boss Man was chasing Nails.
So they had Boss Man.
Mm-hmm.
He a cop. Okay, everybody can get behind him. Everybody can hate him. Whatever you want. But they also had Nails. He was a prisoner. So that's a good thing for Boss Man. And then they had the Mountie, a Canadian cop. He's better than the American cop.
Right,
so
exactly.
Boss Man, took him out and put him in jail.
Instantly, Mountie was the heel, Boss Man was the face, because in America, they're going to go with America.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can get a firefighter over. Whatever you want to go out as, somebody can relate to it. You can get it over if you are that gimmick.
Yeah.
You have to be that gimmick. You have to be the cop that gives the little kid the stickers and, that kind of stuff. Come out and shake everybody's hands and take as many pictures as they want. And then you go in there and you arrest the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can come out there and you can take a fucking cup because they didn't pay full price. Well, yeah, I did. No, I said you didn't. I'm the law.
Right.
Whatever you want to do.
I mean,
Boss Man, all he done was went from blue to black.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah. He went from like traditional police officer to like riot squad, basically.
When he was a heel as the blue Boss Man, he had a tag partner and a manager. Mm-hmm. He had Akeem and Slick.
Slick was the manager, yeah. And Slick was badass. Slick was a badass manager.
Slick was the guy that you put I don't know if
had a great look. He looked like a 70s pimp is what he looked like. And it looked so well.
Was the doctor of style,
dude, I mean, he was like, he always had the badass suits. He had that Jerry curl perm going on, and his hair was always glistening, and it made you hate him.
And that's what I'm saying. They put like Barbarian with him, Warlord with him, people that really couldn't get over on their own. They had the gimmick to do it. Really, the gimmick was good, but it was just another big guy doing the same moves that this guy's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did they do? They teamed him up. Warlord and Barbarian teamed up. They did the exact same moves, basically.
Yeah.
But they was two big-ass dudes.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And then when you brought guys in like King Haku and stuff like that, you know. Brother, I do want to go here really quick. I want to go ahead and ask, and then, because I actually have a funny story for you, and we're going to jump into that here in a few moments. But I want to talk about the EWF Arena, man, and how cool that was. You know, obviously, growing up in Marion, Indiana, and having a weekly wrestling show that ran every Saturday night. I know we've talked about this before. Ryan and I, well, the three of us were just talking about this the other night. We were talking about the Magic Bus. If you guys know what the Magic Bus is, man, it was a really cool little spot. Yeah, you're definitely old if you know what the Magic Bus is, man. But it was a really cool spot that me, Ryan, and David and Travis, you know, would all ride our bikes down to, you know, 11, 12, 13 years old, and hang out with guys like Jason Maple, man, who really taught us some cool stuff. Jason owned the EWF Arena, and the what I remember from the, and I know you've corrected me, but what I remembered from the original EWF Arena was at Raintree Plaza, which has obviously been torn down now, unfortunately. Right. You know, and that really did break my heart to see that go down, because I feel like in this town, every piece of my childhood is being replaced, torn down, destroyed, whatever. But man, let's talk about the EWF Arena, man. Every Saturday night, you know, you had bands on Friday nights. On the left side, you had wrestling on the right side every Saturday night. What was it like, man, showing up to the arena? Because I know you started at, you said 13 years old. Yeah. So before we get to the, let's lead to the EWF Arena thing, but let's talk about how you got started and who trained you.
All right. I went over for a pay-per-view to a buddy's house. Like, I've known him all my life. You know, we went over, we was watching Edge and Christian, Jeff Hardy, and the Dudleys in a TLC match. We watch it, and we were talking, and he's like, hey, man, I got a ring in the garage that's set up. And I said, you know, I called his bluff. No, you don't, you know. No, come on. So I went out there, he flipped the lights on. There's a ring in the middle of the garage.
Completely set up, ready to go.
So I, like, roll in, you know, I fill the ropes and fill the mat, you know, and he's like, hey, try this. So I took a back bump. He's like, okay, cool. And there's some trash cans and ladders just laying around. So we just play him. We go inside, and he's like, hey, his stepdad at the time owned the promotion. And he's watching the pay-per-view, and he's like, hey, man, he can actually do that. Like, he's pretty good for not doing anything and just playing around. He's pretty good.
And you're 13 years old.
13 years old, just going over to watch a pay-per-view. Yep. That's all I wanted to do. And he's like, well, I'm having tryouts in a couple Saturdays. You know, you come out, and once we get the building situated and get the ring moved over to there, come out, have a tryout, and if you make it, we'll talk. All right. I go, I try out, I make it, we talk. He's like, okay, so you just need to find some tights, because you can't just go out there in, you know, gym shorts and a t-shirt and tennis shoes. You got to have boots and tights. Okay, so I got like 3 weeks. Well, my birthday is right around the corner. So, hey, Grandma.
It was always the grandmas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
grandma.
Mom and Dad was like, absolutely not. But Grandma's was like, well, honey, I got you. Like,
Grandma, the guy, you know, my buddy's stepdad knows a guy that's selling this wrestling gimmick. He's not using it anymore. And it's $100. It's a mask and some tights and, you know, stuff like that. Well, it'll be your birthday. That's all I need for my birthday. I promise.
Right, trust you. That's all I want.
So
I don't need the card and the $10. Just give me this, and we'll call it a day.
No gifts, no food, no nothing. So she's okay. So I go over there and I give him $100, and he gives me hypnosis. The first gimmick of Justin Danger was hypnosis. It was a Rey Mysterio type mask, neon green and pink. Had hypnosis down the leg. I was excited. Well, my mom and dad for my birthday ordered me my first pair of boots, which were actually boxing boots, but they didn't come on time. So the first show that actually happened in Marion as a permanent location, I wasn't involved, and Demolition Axe was supposed to be there, and he had some flight issues or something, some travel issues, so he couldn't make it. So I watched the first show, and that was my first independent show that I ever watched. Like, I've seen it on TV.
Mhm.
And honestly, before that, I only went to one wrestling event before that. But I always watched it on TV, never missed anything on TV. So the following week, in midweek, I get my boots. They come in the mail. So I know I get to go out there. And I am so nervous that I have to go to practice and practice the match that I am doing on Saturday because I have no clue what I'm really doing.
Mm-hmm.
I made it, and I've been to
Who were you facing in your first match?
It was a manager named Rolls Royce.
Okay.
Just a local guy, just nobody, really didn't last very long. But yeah, it was an actual manager because I was 13 and a foot shorter than what I am now and like maybe 75 pounds. Mm-hmm. So I was nothing. So against a regular, wrestler, I was puny.
Right, yeah.
I was beyond Rey Mysterio and the Giant,
You're that guy they can grab and just throw around and
and that's what my training was.
Just make themselves look good,
Practice was, hey, come here, Justin, I got this thing I want to try. I don't know if I can do it to anybody else. I know I can throw you around. Okay. So I learned how to take every move in wrestling, basically. Mm-hmm. But, it was like that first match, I had to practice and do exactly what I practiced. Got in there in front of the fans, and I am very antisocial. So I am very shy up until I get to know you. Then it's, it's a floodgate and, stand back. When I first went out, my head was down. I was hunched over, I got into the ring, and I just did what I knew I had to do, and I got out of there, and I'm like, that was the greatest thing ever.
Right.
It was the worst thing ever on that, in the face of her.
I got to ask, did your grandma come to the show? Has she seen the footage or anything? Because she did play a part in it.
My sister went basically every show that I did for about 5 years or 6 years. She went to every one of them. Granted, she's 2 years younger than me, so she really couldn't do anything else, so she went to wrestling. My grandma is the only adult, basically, in my family, other than my dad, my first match, that came to see me wrestle. The night that she came to see me wrestle, I was in a match against a guy that was twice my size. He had another wrestler out there that had a kendo stick in his hands, just talking his stuff.
Real quick.
And throughout the match, I get thrown around, and I go to the outside, and the kendo stick ends up hitting me. Well, my grandma was ready to hit the guy that hit me with the kendo stick. So she was that old woman swinging the purse, swinging the cane. That was my grandma, the experience of me wrestling. And I don't think she ever came back after that. Yeah,
so your grandma shows up one show,
just to see
kendo stick.
Get my ass whooped, and my first experience would get hit by a weapon. Yes.
The video? Like when you say that, what it makes me think of your grandma's ready. So your grandma's ready to get up. Grandma's ready to whoop this dude's ass. When Hogan went heel, there was a classic video of that old lady.
Woman. Yes, that was.
Was that your grandma right there? I was gonna ask. Was that your grandma? Kind of like, that's my grandson. How dare you get him like that?
And she still talks about that.
Yeah.
I watched him wrestle once. He got his ass whooped. He got hit with a weapon. I was gonna whoop that guy's ass.
And she never came back. She was like, nope.
I ain't gonna watch you.
She was like, honey, if I come back again, Granny's getting in the ring. Granny's going with someone's ass. Yeah. So you obviously started off where you started off. I know you went by a name Anarchy. So let's talk about Anarchy for
I started off as Hypnosis.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I never noticed it up until I started, you wanted me to come on here. And I'm like, well, I better try to remember as much as possible because I've done so much and I've done so much at a young age that I didn't absorb it.
Right,
exactly. It was a moment thing. It happened.
Kind of thrown in it, and then it was like, hey,
it was just I'm real spur of the moment, and I just I always wanted to do this. When they asked me in high school, what are you gonna be when you grow up? I'm gonna be a pro wrestler. No, what are you really gonna be? I'm going to be a pro wrestler and probably work in a factory. And what am I doing? I'm a pro wrestler and I work in a factory. Absolutely. So I did what I said in high school. I achieved that.
And I just want to say really quick, that goes to show all you people out there that if you put your mind to what you want to do, man, you can do what you want to do. Because
you can achieve any goal you put out there.
Because for me, man, not to interrupt you, but throwing that dream out there, man, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a janitor. all my life. That's just what I mean. I don't have a boss breathing down my neck. I can throw earphones on, and I can just do my job and do it well and call it a day. I wanted to do something pro wrestling, and I wanted to do something with music. Yeah. And I originally had a shot with music, and I chose that, and I ran with that, and became a janitor. And then now I get to do professional wrestling stuff, but still be a janitor. And it's just so badass.
Like that's what Jericho done. Yeah. Jericho wanted to be in a rock band. He wanted to be a pro wrestler. What's he doing? He's in a rock band and a pro wrestler.
Yeah, he's doing both, you know? Right. And, like, it's just so fun to be able to look back and just go, man, because, like, how you were saying, you know, like, you're kind of thrown in a moment and you never really absorb it all, you know? Right. There are so many memories that I know that I have, but I would have to dig really deep and concentrate and meditate for hours to find those memories, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like nowadays, dude, I'm just living off what I'm able to do and just have fun doing it. And
like when we travel, going to shows, and you guys, you especially because you was around that and you knew about EWF. Mm-hmm. But when you bring stuff up, I remember like more and more of EWF. Like just asking me, I really can't remember. But when you start talking about it, I remember more and more. Just like saying, I started off as Hypnosis. Really, the only thing I remember is that very first match and me landing on my face on a frog splash because it was my first attempt at a frog splash and skimming my nose because of my mask. Mm-hmm. That's about all I remember other than getting my ass kicked, you know, the whole time as Hypnosis because I was the jobber basically.
Yeah.
But I was learning, and that's the thing about guys that are getting into it now is they see all these moves, they want to do all these moves. I didn't do a move for like a year and a half.
Right.
I may have thrown a drop kick that nobody sold because I was so small.
Yeah.
But I was able to learn how to take all the moves. And if the guy drops me, I can spin myself and protect myself to where I'm not just free falling and not knowing what to do.
Right.
I was so small that I was literally getting thrown from one side to the other. But I landed safely because I realized how I can rotate my body and where I can land and not get up hurting and not actually pull something or hurt something.
Well, see, okay, so, like, you're talking about, you know, like, you're a small guy, obviously, like we spoke on earlier for a brief second, you know, you're that guy that, you know, maybe these bigger guys come in the arena and they're like, hey, man, I got this move, I want to try it.
Right. Like Brock Lesnar's F5.
I can do it with you because you're 75 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to do this, and it's going to get a huge pop from the crowd, and, you know, you're going to sell it, and it's going to look fucking awesome.
Right.
And he's going to look strong, and, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's kind of what...
That's what I did for the longest time.
Yeah.
And what did I do? I came in at 2 times a week and practiced, and I came in every show and wrestled because that's what I wanted to do. And the only way to get better is to be in front of the crowd and learn what to do on the fly, basically. Because not everything's going to go
walk and talk kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Like, you can plan out everything, but one little mess up, and...
The guest host. Hi, buddy.
It's like you either got to show that you have everything planned out by going back to that, or you get standing looking at each other. What do I do? But, you know, with me, I can do whatever because I go from... here's what we're going to do to I feel the crowd and I feel what they want to do. So I'm going to do that. And then we'll go back into what we're going to do.
Well, kind of like how you were talking to about like when you come out as a face or a heel.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of takes you into that moment where you're like, okay, before we get into the anarchy thing, I do want to bring this up because this is actually really important. And I really want people to understand this. We were talking about how, like, you know, you can come out and you can be... you know, a face or a heel, but you are so old school the way you were trained. You listen to the crowd behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Oh, these guys want a wrestling match because they were into that. So, you know, I'm going to, you know, so elaborate a little bit on that.
A lot of times I'll be the first match.
Cheers, brother.
A lot of people are like, oh, I'm opening match. That sucks. You know, I'm the first. No, the opening match is the most important match because that's going to set the tone for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
So if I go out there and we start wrestling and the crowd's just sitting on their hands, okay, let's do something funny real quick to lighten the mood, and then we'll go into something you know bigger, and then we'll have them where we should, and that's what it is. I listen to the crowd and I hear. Okay, I'm third match, so I'm going to watch the first match. What are they doing? They're wrestling a lot. Oh, there's a lot of, you know, crowd interaction. The second match, they're wrestling a lot. The crowd's starting to die down. Okay, I'm not going to wrestle as much. We might wrestle for like a minute. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we'll get into something else. because they've already seen enough wrestling. They're done with wrestling.
They want to see like an Extreme Rules or hardcore match
they
or
just wanna
something
see
like
something different than basically what they are seeing is the same thing. If you wrestle a lot, that's all they're really seeing. So this match is going to be the same as the last match I've seen, so I don't have to pay attention.
Exactly. And
But
I know
we change it up. Okay, well, what's this guy really going to do? Is this guy ever going to come back? Oh, he's coming back. Oh, he almost came back.
Almost,
here it comes. Oh, he got the win. Yay.
Well, and like we've talked before too, like nowadays, back then we didn't have, cell phones, to occupy your time and things like that. I know we've talked about, on the nights where they double booked. There was one night where Jason Maple, shout out to Jason Maple, too sweet. Yeah. He double booked a punk rock show on the left and a wrestling show on the right. And I had a funny story, and we're gonna segue into that story because I actually have a highlight. I have this motherfucker highlighted because not a lot of people know about this. Maybe you were there that night. I'm not sure. It did make a big headway. I don't know why, but I've done a lot of stupid shit in my life. But the night that he double booked, that was a cool thing, because we didn't have cell phones back then. So if you're at the wressling show, nowadays people get on their phones and they're like, well, I don't really care about, whatever, I don't care about that match, whatever. I'm going to get on here and text, tweet, Twitter, right. TikTok, whatever. Back then you had the option. So on that one night, double booking, if you could go over and watch this band play, and if you didn't like the next band, you go over and watch this wrestling match. Funny thing about the EWF arena at Raintree was, I don't know if you remember a band. I'm going to name a couple bands and tell me if you remember them, all right? Slim Jim and the Sunset Riders.
Yes.
Okay. All Torn Down.
Yes.
Okay. Mike Wilson stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Dirge.
Yes. Dirge.
Yes, dude. Dirge, and that's where the story goes.
I honestly had a Dirge CD and a Chronic Chaos CD for the longest time.
I still jam Dirge. Dirge is in my truck right now.
I would like, some way, somehow, I would like them songs from
Before
Dirge.
You got a computer?
Yeah.
Before you leave here, remind me, and I'll give you my Dirge CD. It's the Ultimate Collection, so it's got all their songs on it.
Okay.
It's all the unrated, all the unedited stuff. It's the demo. It's the actual CD, but it's like the demo versions and then like the actual LP versions.
All right.
Before you leave today, remind me, and I'll give you that. And you make a copy of that and stuff. And I had to work my ass off to get that fucking CD back again. But speaking of Dirge, Dirge was the first band going into music that they kind of like pro wrestling. They were the first guys. How we were talking about Raven. They were the first guys to sit me down and be like, hey man, what do you want to do? Well, I want to be a pro wrestler. I want to be a musician. Okay, well, we can help you with that. You want to be a musician? This is what you do. And they didn't really like sit me down and say anything. It was just how they handled their fans. They were giving out free merch. And I remember my little brother Chris and I, we were at the show, and it was like intermission, and the bands were packing up. The bands were done, but it was wrestling intermission.
Right.
So all the wrestling fans and all the musicians and music fans and stuff like that were all like, hanging out together. And I remember going up to, and it's crazy that I became really good friends with these guys later on in life. And I almost became the new singer for Dirge, which it never happened. I'm really glad it didn't happen because, man, I practiced for months, and then the show failed. And I was like, thank God. Because like they were that first punk band, man, that taught me a thing or two. And I remember going over, and I only had enough because I spent my money on a 40 ounce. Yeah, that's right. I was 13 drinking 40 ounces. I spent my money on cigarettes and a 40 ounce and at the mall, and had enough money to get into one of the shows. And then, we'd sneak back and forth kind of thing. But I remember Dirge coming in, and they were packing their gear up. And, I had enough money to buy either a sticker or a pin, because they had 2 pins for $1 or a sticker for $1. And I remember Shane Rudd, the bass player, and I am still great friends with that. I have been honored to play shows with him and actually got to duet on Dirge songs with him. But those guys, man, and then Scott, the singer at the time, I watched him, look at me, and he goes, well, what do you want? And I was like, well, and I got a couple bucks. And he's like, oh, well, I was like, man, you guys are badass. He's like, dude, fuck it, man. Here's a t-shirt, here's a record, here's this, here's that. I lost the record years throughout traveling and stuff like that. Took me like 15 years to get that record back, and I was so stoked. And my wife loves him. You know, like unfortunately she never got to see him, but she knows the stories of Dirge. I got to become really good friends with those guys. EWF Arena. I remember one night. Here we go. Y'all don't know about this. Not a lot of people know about this. We were hanging out front at that double booked event that night, and the Taco Bell is right across the street, as you know. Back in the day, you know, it was the Zach Morris Taco Bell, that retro Taco Bell. I'm sitting out there, and Dirge said something about my little brother couldn't get a T-shirt. And they said, hey, we'll give a T-shirt, a free T-shirt of your choice. They had 2 options, I think. To anybody who strips down naked right now in the parking lot, runs over to Taco Bell, grabs a tray, and runs back. And nobody wanted to do it. And I was like, well, fuck it, I'll do it. So, man, shirt came off, pants went down, underwear went down, grabbed my junk. I took off running across the street. I run in. It's a Saturday night, so you know Taco Bell's busy.
Yeah.
I grab a tray. I come hauling back across the bypass. I hand them the tray. They're like, dude, that's awesome, blah, blah, blah. I think that moment is kind of like what solidified, like, you guys are awesome. And they were like, dude, you're kind of cool, you know?
Right.
And I got the T-shirt. They ended up signing the tray. I lost the tray over years of traveling and moving and shit, but unfortunately. But yeah, man, it's just a funny little story. I've never told you that. A lot of people don't know that. My wife knows about that story. My little brother knows because he was there. Shout out to Chris, too sweet, brother. I love you. Yeah, man, he was there. Man, I want to jump into, like I said, the EWF Arena stuff. I know when they moved to on the south side of town, next to Penguin Point, a lot of big names came in. Obviously, you know, that's where you wrestled Raven and stuff like that at. What were your, like, if you had to have your fondest memory besides Raven, what was your fondest memory, whether it was the original Raintree or out on the south side of town? What was your fondest memory of EWF? Like, whether it was someone who you wrestled, or just maybe someone that was there that was a big name, or just an experience that you felt at that time?
Probably the last night in that building next to Penguin Point, because me and Nate Phoenix had a Fans Bring the Weapons match, and as my music played and I came through the curtain, that was the time Samoa Joe was in Ring of Honor.
So it'd been Tiny Joe, like he was Little Joe,
no, maybe not Ring of Honor, maybe TNA, because they was doing the Joe's gonna kill you chant.
Okay,
but it was Justin's gonna kill you, and they had the weapons crossed over the entranceway, and the entrance was a platform and just like a 6-7 foot ramp, just leading down to the ground. But they stood on the ramp, on the side of the ramp, put the weapons across, and I crossed underneath of them. And I had an Anarchy sign made out of light tubes up against the wall. So it was the black wall where the ring's here and the wall's up against it, and the fans are all
arena's over here,
side.
Or the entranceway's over here. Yeah.
The Anarchy sign I put up onto the black wall, so it kind of stood out, you know. And you know, we tore that building apart. Like, he told us, he's like, this is the last night we're going to be here, so whatever you guys want to break, go break.
And it's crazy because I remember being there that night too, which is crazy because, like I said, I've known you for a long time, but never really got a chance to talk to you or anything like that. But I do remember showing up that night, and I had heard from Jason. He was like, yeah, this is going to be a must-see show tonight. We're basically going to tear the building down. And that reminded me of, when I heard that, that reminded me of when Chris Hero and CM Punk wrestled their last match in a building, and they were like, hey, it's the last night in the building's getting kind of torn down kind of thing. You guys do whatever the hell you want. They purposely tried to throw each other through walls. They were trying to tear down the rafters.
And that's what we did.
Exactly,
The chairs in that building was actually the movie theater chairs. We literally ripped up chairs out of the floor. And
it was like when Jason left Raintree Plaza, he's like, well, it's my arena, I'm taking the chairs with me. And they unbolted them and basically took the chairs.
So we bolted them down, but we ripped out 4 or 5 rows of seats out of the ground. We tore through, like, he had a little office game room type thing at one point, and we broke through that wall, the concession stand, and we messed that all up. It was one of those nights that it stuck with me because of all the stuff that we did that I've seen.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And another night, it wasn't even at the EWF arena, it was for EWF, but we was in Kentland, Indiana.
Okay.
At a gymnasium, just doing a show, but it was me and Nate Phoenix versus King and Cheese. And we literally had a TLC match, but nothing hung above us.
Okay.
So it was just basically anything goes.
Tables, ladders, chairs, but just pinfall.
And this was a gymnasium, so there was like a 20-foot balcony up to the second floor, and we was throwing each other off of that. And I remember Nate Phoenix getting on top of the rail as I throw King over the guardrail. He lands on a stack of chairs, hits them, and hits the ground. I look over and Nate's up on the guardrail and jumps up as high as you can off of a guardrail that's 20 foot off the ground, does a frog splash through Cheese onto the table. And it was just big moments, I guess, like that. Mm-hmm. Or like, I'll have flashbacks of matches. Had a hardcore tag match with me and Jack Hammer versus Void Effect. It was around Christmas time. So we got some Christmas lights and extension cord, and we wrapped one of the Void Effect members in Christmas lights, and our finisher was he picked him up for a sidewalk slam, and I climbed up into the rafters and jumped out with a leg drop sidewalk slam.
As he's wrapped in the lights.
Yeah,
okay.
We
get that nice
Christmas
pop crapple.
Christmas time, we plug the lights in, he's all lit up. We hit our finisher.
Lit up like a Christmas tree. You drop the leg drop. This guy's sparkling and crackling. You know, fans are like, "Oh, this is badass."
Right.
Like,
and that's the kind of stuff that happened at EWF every week.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a packed out house every week. We had from 5 fans to 200 fans. Mm-hmm. But it just depends on if there's anything going on, if anybody's doing anything, whatever. But the match quality was like that every show. Like,
at the time, like, you only had punk rock on Friday nights and then wrestling on Saturday nights. I mean, and that's what I loved about Jason was he was so in tune at that time. I mean, he's still in tune, but he was so in tune at that time with, he was so in tune at that time with, the punk rock scene. Because, man, we had a hell of a punk rock scene here.
Yeah.
Had a hell of a wrestling scene here, When that man brought the best of both worlds and put it together. Every Friday night you had a punk rock show.
Yep.
Every Saturday night you had a wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
As a junior high kid, I was like, well,
and that was before
get out of school. I'm going. Yeah, I'm
we
going.
All just met up.
I'm buying a 40 ounce. I'm getting a pack of cigarettes off the older kid who's friends with me in the neighborhood who would buy me a pack of cigarettes and buy me my 40 ounce. And man, I'm off to the mall for a few hours, and then because the mall was only a hop, skip, and a jump away from Raintree.
Right.
So you go there and hang out.
Yep. And
then you just hop over and check out a punk rock show on Friday and check out a wrestling show on Saturday. And you rest and recuperate on Sunday. You go back to school and you and your buddies are like, oh my God, dude, Monday morning, you're like, dude, that was awesome. I got to see this show. And oh man, that band tore it down. Oh man, these wrestlers really fucking tore it down. And we don't have that anymore.
No.
A lot of companies nowadays, I know, I've talked about this before. A lot of companies run monthly.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about WCWO is every Friday night, you're going to get WCWO. And what I love about that company is, and I'm waiting for the call. Hopefully one day I'll get down there and work, But, hey, book me. What I love about WCWO is, again, you get that every Friday night. And storylines are very important.
Mm-hmm.
Storylines can be very easily forgotten within a few weeks.
Yeah.
So when you have a weekly product, like Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown or Wednesday night AEW Dynamite, or whatever, it's easy to remove those storylines because you're being reminded each week. How's that career changed for you, like as far as going from like monthly, man? Because I know you're huge in AWE. You're super time heel over there. Like,
right.
I feel like every time you come out over there, the crowd just they hate you to death.
Like I told you earlier, like I tell people, don't give the fans everything you got your first time out there, because but that's me thinking of how I came up, and it's weekly.
Yeah.
So you don't want to start off with all you got, because the next week you come out and you wrestle that guy again. You got to do the same match because you can't top it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nowadays it's go out there and hit everything big that you got and everything that's flashy, because everybody's going to remember that, because they got to wait another month to see you. So you can't really have a storyline going from month to month. I mean, you can, but it's just a lot harder.
It's
for the
easier
fans to
nowadays with
remember.
social media.
Yeah,
You know,
you have to do
back
stuff
then
online between shows. If you don't do anything between shows, or you wait months because your last show's here and your next show's here, and this whole time you don't do nothing but maybe throw up a logo, that's not going to do anything other than, okay, this guy's coming soon, I guess, but I don't know what is.
Yeah.
But if you do little videos of previous matches of last year's shows, of what you guys can produce, that'll get somebody, oh, I missed that. Well, maybe I'll show up for this show. And then they see the next week or the month, and then a couple weeks later, they see a promo from that guy that was in that match saying, this is what I'm going to do coming up, in May or June or whenever it is. Instead of, hey, I got a show in May. Okay. Like, who are these guys?
Right,
like,
yeah.
I don't know what these guys have done. Are you just starting up? Like,
kind of like forgotten about like what is or what's
because
happened
there's
before
so
that.
much wrestling that happens nowadays that
there's so many companies.
If a company runs every week like WCWO, they could take people because they have something they can invest in, because they're going to run a storyline because they're weekly.
Yeah.
And they're going to invest in that storyline. And, well, this show is happening the same day as this show, but I think I'm going to go to that other show because I know what's going to happen. I've seen what's happening. I know the background of this guy.
You're invested.
Yeah.
You're invested in the storyline that's happening at that time or whatever. So, yeah, like you said, it's easier to be like, well, they have this show on Friday night. I haven't seen it since like a month ago.
Why do you watch?
Because you want to watch to see what happens the following week. Because you want to know what. Well, they left me with a cliffhanger on this episode.
You saw a highlight on Facebook. You saw a highlight on Instagram. Well, they said that he's gonna or this guy got jumped, and that's all you saw was a highlight. Well, he's gonna get retaliated because it's wrestling, and that's what happens in wrestling. Yeah. So maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you check it out, and all of a sudden you get ready to turn it, and the next match comes on, and it gets your attention. You start watching that match. All right, well, I got to go do something. The next Monday when Monday Night Raw comes on, you're probably going to tune in because now you've not only invested in one match and one storyline, but the next match caught you. So what's going to happen at the beginning of that show? Let's see what the beginning is all about. And then you start watching the whole thing, and then you're watching weekly.
And that was like how WCW was, because like going back how you and I have talked before, when I was growing up, I'd watch Monday Night Raw and I would tape WCW, and then I would either watch WCW later that night, depending on how late my parents would let me stay up with school coming up the next day, and then or I would come home from school and I would watch WCW Monday Night Nitro. Yeah. The moment the NWO happened, that flipped the way I filmed. I was like, all right, I'm going to tape Raw.
What
and then
was
I'm
going
watch.
on in WWE at that time?
Exactly.
There was nothing.
I mean, you had your two top. You had two top
Bret
stars
Hart versus Undertaker, or
like Yokozuna.
Yeah, it was somebody against somebody, but it wasn't nothing happening.
But you had two top stars, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Show up to WCW.
But that was something happening.
Exactly. They were building something. It's like,
brewing.
Oh, I want to see what this is. Mm-hmm. So it made me more interested to be like, all right, I'm going to watch Nitro live, and I'm going to tape Raw.
Yep.
Because at the time, it came out at the same time.
Right.
So I would tape one or the other. Well, once NWO happened, once Scott Hall showed up, I was like, well, shit. Like, I want to know what's going on next week. Shit. He's probably going to come out top of the show. All right, I'm just going to tape Raw, and I'll watch that later tonight or watch that tomorrow after school, and I'm going to watch WCW.
Great.
And it got to a point where, like, guys, my good buddies, like my good brothers, David, Ryan, and Travis, we would all meet up at the blue lockers in school and be like, dude, did you guys watch WCW? That was crazy, blah, blah. Yeah. When before, we were like, dude, you watch Raw? Like, that was crazy. We wanted to know what was coming, you know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, that time in WWF, there was nothing. like they had a couple gimmicks and a couple guys you
Yeah,
liked,
yeah.
but nothing going on.
Sean, Brett,
Yeah.
Taker, guys like that.
NWO started and there was something going on.
It felt real though.
Then all of a
like,
sudden DX formed and they kept doing the childish stuff and the immature stuff.
the
and,
high school
hey,
shit. You know,
this girl showed her boobs in the crowd. I'm gonna see if they show any more. You know,
Right,
And
exactly.
then all of a sudden it shifted. And
It
then
shifted again.
There was the war.
Yeah,
It wasn't. It wasn't both companies, it was both groups.
it was groups. I was gonna say it wasn't like WWF, WWE at the time weren't having a war with WCW and WCW with WWF, or WWE. It was DX and NWO. You wanted to see what group was because like you grow up and then you find out you're like, well, damn, the Clique was a big deal, and you got so many members in the Clique over here in this group, so many members of the Clique in this group. And they're trying to outdo each other, and they're on the phone like, "Dude, I got you on tonight," blah blah blah,
honestly,
and you're moving on.
If they try and do that now, it would almost work better because now you understand that you're not working against each other; you're working with each other to make each other money.
Yep, exactly.
Like you're gonna buy a DX shirt, and then all of a sudden NWO does something, then you buy an NWO shirt. Well, you have a shirt of both because that's the two groups that you're actually watching. You're not watching the show.
You're watching for those groups. Like
you're waiting for DX to come out and do something. You're waiting for NWO.
I do that now because like I'm on this whole Nitro kick where I've been watching all the Nitros and I've been watching up to the pay-per-view, watch pay-per-view, go back into the Nitro again. I don't watch Thunder just because I really wasn't a fan. I mean, Thunder was cool as a kid, but I try to watch it with my son, who's 14, and I just can't really, unless NWO was on Thunder, then I would watch it, to continue the storyline from Monday night. That's all I care about.
Thunder really was a B show.
Yeah.
There was no, it wasn't
unless
like
NWO was
SmackDown.
on it.
They tried to say Raw's the A show, B is SmackDown, but it's really not because you had equal talent on both shows.
Yeah.
WCW had Nitro as their A show and B show was Thunder. And then C was Saturday Night.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean? And it was just so hard for me to get into Thunder. As a kid, I watched it all the time, but it was more of like, what's NWO going to do? But as an adult,
it was almost because it was on a different channel.
Exactly. It changed it up towards like, all right, we're going TNA or TNT to TBS.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was cool. But yeah, it was like with the whole Nitro thing, it was like I said, man, the moment Scott Hall showed up, to me that changed professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like, wait a minute, that's Razor Ramon. Then you get Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
The reality into wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
It was all gimmicky and hokey, for a long time. And then all of a sudden, it became reality, not real like it was in the 70s, where you went to see somebody, actually beat the shit out of the other guy. Then it went to the gimmicks, and then it went to reality, where I wonder if this guy came from WWE. Did he get sent here? That kind of stuff. Like the more of the drama. That's what started it, I believe. Like, and then you get into WWE doing the Edge and Lita stuff. That was, kind of drama stuff.
That was huge too. I mean, that was huge.
They always say that Vince always tries to use real life. It makes the best storylines. Sometimes it shouldn't.
Yeah. I feel like the Edge and Matt Hardy was one of those moments where it's like that shouldn't have been a storyline because, I mean, Matt Hardy at that time being as broken as he was, and it's weird that he became broken then.
I was going to say, he's broken now.
Yeah.
But he was literally broken.
That was
then.
real life.
Physically, mentally,
that was
everything.
Yeah. I mean, that was real life to where his real life.
I kind of wonder if the broken gimmick didn't come from that.
And
it came up in his head.
Yeah, and it could have because I mean to see the videos and stuff that he was releasing at the time, and obviously Rebby, she had him delete a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Due to just trying to save his image and things like that. But I do want to jump into before you retire, because obviously you've done it for 20 plus years. Before you retire, who's a couple names, man, you want to throw out there that you'd like to get in the ring with? Either maybe you've already gotten in the ring with, but you'd like to get back in the ring with, or who's some people, man, you haven't stepped up and locked up with yet, man, that you'd love to get in there and do it with?
Man, I get out a lot, but it's a lot of the same guys. So I don't know a lot of the guys that are around now.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Morris is one that I got in the ring with at AWE in Michigan, and it was the first time. You know, I didn't do much because that's how I do it. I don't do much my first time in there with you until I know what you can do, basically.
Comfortability.
Once I know what you
in.
can do, then we kind of step it up a little bit. But he's one that I would like to have another match with because he's really good. Like that's why he's the champ in AEWE right now. Johnny Crisis is another one I'd like to get back in the
Going
ring
back
with.
EWF days.
The match that we had with AECW. Like it was so comfortable being in there with him. It was fun. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't have to do nothing, but we did all the stuff that we used to do without even knowing we was doing it.
Yeah,
you know.
Comfortability kind of kicked in, and it was like, oh yeah, we kind of been here before. You lock up, you just kind of like go through the motions.
A guy that got a fluke victory over me, we'll just say that. Tanner Kelly. Mm-hmm. I'd like to get back in the ring with him. Singles.
Lost to him in a gauntlet match.
In a gauntlet match where I already previously beat somebody, and then he came in.
Already went 10, 15 minutes, you know.
But he's one that I'd like to get in there and do something with. Ricky Guns in a solo thing. I'd like to do something with him. Justin Terrell. Either tagging with that dude or in the match with him.
I would be a fan of either way, just because to see what that guy does and see what you've done, to see how y'all's paths cross different paths.
And,
you know what I mean?
See,
but
the funny thing about him is I don't know how long he'd been in the business before I met him, but it'd only been maybe a year or so. Like within 3 years of being in the business, I met him. And he was young and he wanted to do everything, and I might have had one match with him, maybe. Got some tights off him, traded him a mask for some tights, little stuff. But I watched him work, and I've seen how he's gotten so much better and stuff. And I'd like to get in the ring with him. Like I said, whether on his side or against him, either one I'd like to. Rod Street. I would love to get in the ring with him again because I spent so long wrestling with him because I feuded with him a good part of 3 years. Just him and a group that he was in the EWF times. Like I worked him so much, and before the shows we would get in the ring and we would just mess around and do stuff and throw ideas off of each other and just stupid stuff.
One is like Rod is a guy, not to cut you off, but like Rod is a guy that we've talked about before. Being the cop gimmick. You and I've joked. It's comes out he's a cop. You automatically don't like the guy. You know what I mean? And then you see his
mustache.
Then you see his attitude, and you're like, I definitely don't like this guy. He's the typical cop that pulled me over on a Friday, Saturday night, for going 2 miles over the speed limit because he was bored, you know. And how you've said, he caution tapes the ring and stuff like that. But speaking of Rush Street, man, like when you meet the guy and you get in that locker room with those guys in AWE, I've been fortunate enough to attend a few shows, and I got to work a couple of those shows. Great set of guys, man, in the back. I love that, and that's the thing, guys. Like when you get a good group of guys like that, man, you need to go and talk to them and stuff. But
they're a wide variety of guys. Mm-hmm. You have Kenny Urban.
I was gonna say.
And then you got the Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, I was gonna say the World Tag Team Champions. I mean, holy shit, those guys are.
Those two are two monsters.
Slaughterhouse scared the shit out of me first time I saw him.
Right.
Sitting in the crowd, I was like, "What is this big ass leather face looking some bitch?" You know what I mean? Like that's a big ass boy coming at you. Like
what was Isaiah, the Human Highlight?
Isaiah Moore. He was
there.
He was on AEW Dark and shit like that.
Right after he was there as the champ.
Phenomenal talent too.
Oh yeah.
When I first saw him, the tag team at the time had just turned heel and joined him. Basically, he came out and helped them retain the tag team titles and stuff.
And that's what I'm saying. That show has a variety of a roster that no matter what you like in wrestling, they have. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a lot of gimmicky stuff,
Cool arena too, though.
Yeah.
The arena makes a lot of the show too.
Yeah.
I feel like, and they have a
It's
really
close.
cool. Yeah, they have a really cool old school. And I'm sure you'll agree. Old school, original ECW, original black and gold NXT.
Yeah.
Style arena,
Just
man.
right around the ring. You're
Very small and intimate, but
Yeah.
the lighting and you and I were talking about lighting earlier.
Yeah.
Lighting's everything, man. Like if you walk in and you see two guys in the main event, they're about to lock up for the whatever World's Championship, and you and I were saying, you got these spotlights shining down, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a match right there. Like you've already invested me because your lighting is the way it is. You've told the story to me, and then I see these guys. It's like
people nowadays are so technologically inclined and whatever, but it's like if you have the whole building lit up, that's what I'm supposed to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But if I shut all the lights off around the ring and I have spotlights just on the ring, you're gonna focus on the ring. Mm-hmm. You're going to focus on the entranceway. You're going to focus on the guy coming down to the ring. Then when he gets in, well, I can see everybody, but they're all in the shadows, and this is the spotlight. Yeah. This is where I need to look. This is what I'm going to get invested in.
Well, look how NXT did back in the day, you know, when they would do their main event, whether it was Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole or Adam Cole versus Drew McIntyre or whoever it was, those lights went down. Mm-hmm. Those spotlights came on. They made you invest. Yes, they made you invest. Like this is your main event of the evening. What's here we go, man. We are in this now.
What's separating when you walk into the arena to find your seat to when the bell actually rings?
Right.
All it is the bell ringing. Mm-hmm. But if you take down the lights and you make the ring brighter than what the outside lights are, even if you can't dim the lights, if you can make it brighter. The lights brighter over the ring, it still makes that spotlight. And you can still get it even with the lights all lit up around it. Mm-hmm. You'll still have this glow because it's the ring and that's what you're supposed to be looking at, not what that fan's doing across from you or what that guy's doing. Or look, there's a wrestler looking, let's see what he's doing. It's also another way where you dim the lights, all the wrestlers can actually watch the matches too. Yeah, I get you got the gorilla position after the guys go out, but there's not a lot of room. So if you guys can slide out through a corner, or if you have a monitor, that's what they should be doing. They should be watching the match for one, the safety of the other wrestlers. Because if something happens out there, not a lot of places have medics on site. Let's just be honest, indies don't have medics. They have the other wrestlers in the locker room. That's what they have.
Yep. And the officials or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
So if nobody's watching that match, somebody could get seriously hurt. They could have a fan run in on them. You know, but if you're watching, you can prevent that, or you can immediately go and find out what's wrong. Mm-hmm. But it's just something that doesn't really happen because everybody just on their phones, you know.
Yeah, they're bored with the match or whatever. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna get on my phone and play on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. But I always try and watch the matches. For one, you can learn stuff from everybody. Mm-hmm. No matter how bad somebody is.
Well, and that's something that I've learned from you. Like I've caught myself again, not to cut you off, but like that's something again, man, that you guys need to understand too. 20 plus year veteran. Me getting into the wrestling business, like I've always been a lifetime fan. I've done wrestling shit, you know what I mean? But to be in the back and see things, you've always kind of, like every time I look around, you'll be gone. And then I find you and you're at the curtain looking through because you want to know what's going on. Like you're a fan itself, and you've kind of brought that fan back out in me as far as like, I spend a lot of time at that curtain, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I want to watch the match. Like, I'm a fan, man. It sucks that, like, I can't go out there and sit in the crowd because I got to be a part of the show, but I still want to watch the match. So I'm the guy that's at the curtain, and obviously you know this. You'll walk to a curtain, there might be 8 guys in that curtain. You got to take turns sometimes because you only got this much space or whatever. And I won't say it on here, but when we're done filming, I'll tell you about my favorite gorilla position moment. It was really cool. It was just something that, like, it was real, and there was like 9 of us squeezed in this little position, and we had to take turns, and we were all like this, like hunched up, you know. But yeah, man, as we start running this down, I do want to ask, if you could put yourself in a dream match, doesn't matter if title's on the line, world title, an intercontinental championship, a mid-card title, whatever. If you could put yourself in one match, like if this was your final match and you had to go out, man, this is the last time you're lacing the boots up. When you take them off, man, that's it. You're done. Who's the guy you're staring across the ring from?
On the indie level?
Yeah, indie level. Yep.
I would honestly say Rod Street.
Rod Street?
Because of the history that we have with each other, and as much as he's helped me in and out of the ring.
Okay.
You know, we've shared a lot, you know, without sharing a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of them guys that kind of is like in the shadows, but I know he's there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while he'll see, you know, something, he'll pop up. Hey,
busy man, too.
Man.
Busy man, dude.
Oh,
when you see that guy, like at a show, that dude is...
He makes sure...
Man, he's off the wall, bing, 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 bing. Like, he's making sure everything's taken care of, and, like, you're going to get a damn good product before, you know, you walk through the door, and you're going to go home happy.
And I've not went to one of their shows that's not been good.
Yeah, same. Like the handful that I've been to, I mean, like we said earlier, Kenny Urban and the Goose, that was phenomenal, the Goose stuff. And,
they had the gimmicks, they put together good wrestling matches, they put together good tag matches, they put together good gimmick matches. Whoever they feel will make their show the best, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Not a friend thing, or hey, I want to just work this guy just because. No, this is going to make sense, and it does make sense, and it makes you want to come back.
See, like a guy like Kenny Urban and the Goose, I could, like as a fan standpoint watching it, I could see that guy being a world heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And that crowd loving every second of it. Like, that guy would find a way to put the World's Championship on that damn goose head. You know what I mean? Like, he would find a way to, like, that goose, that prop would have its own championship.
Yeah.
Like, I love AWE, man. It's been fun working with those guys. Like, I know you brought up Rod Street. Great guy, man. Seriously, Rod. Yeah. Great guy, man. You know, I was very happy with the way the show ran, and to be a part of the last couple ones and to do some things, man. It was, you know, to walk in the first time as a fan and sit in front row with a good brother, Rob Glover. There you go. Ricky Guns. But yeah, man, to sit there and watch the show and see how the show was, you know, put together, and then when you get to be a part of the show and work that show, you go to the back, you meet the boys, and you see how things are going. And Rod is just a guy that I couldn't say enough nice things about the guy. Like, he, you can truly feel that, like, when you show up there, like, he wants you to have fun. He wants you to do this, you know, deliver here, but go out, you know, bang your match out, blow your load, as you said, you know what I mean? Send the crowd home happy.
Yeah.
Man, as we start running this down, I got to ask, injuries. What's your worst injury, man? You've been doing it 20 plus years. I know you've got some injury stories here. Let's get to some injury stories. Like,
and honestly, I'm very, very lucky.
Before you say this, do I need to get a piece of wood so you can knock on this?
I would almost prefer that. Yes.
I'm gonna grab a piece of wood just because I feel like
we're some wood so I can knock on it, please.
Because I feel like where you're going, I'm over here like okay, I found something. I'm going to give you this random piece of board because God forbid you come on this fucking show and I fuck your career up. I don't want this, people. But worst injury, and I'm really glad you did that because I don't come on my show and you get hurt next week, man. Like,
the worst thing that's happened to me is I actually broke my kneecap in half. But dude, here's the thing. I don't know, because you don't know how people feel.
Yeah.
Like, how their body feels and stuff. You don't know.
You're not there.
You go to the doctor and he says, oh, you're perfectly healthy. But I'm fucking aching like a motherfucker.
Right, exactly. Or you go to the doctor and they're like, hey, you're fucked up. You're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. So somehow like I said, I split my kneecap in half, and it never.
Like the actual kneecap,
like
that motherfucker was done.
Like I can separate the kneecap. Like at least it was shaved off, maybe not the entire kneecap, but at least shaved off to where I could separate, the loose part from the actual kneecap. But I was it was a hardcore match. It was an Anarchy Rules match, which I've never lost an Anarchy Rules match because, I was Anarchy.
Anarchy, exactly.
That was my thing. Raven had his
Raven's Rules
match.
Yep.
And because I'm such a fan of Raven,
you created
the Anarchy Rules match.
Yeah.
So we get in there, and it was just a simple thing of I wedged a chair in between the top and the middle rope in the corner. I take jackhammer. I go to whip him. He reverses me. I go head first into the chair. Somehow my leg slid under the bottom turnbuckle, and my knee smashed right into the steel post. And it split my kneecap. I'm supposed to be, my head. I'm like, my knee.
Right.
There's something wrong. This mother hurt.
Yeah.
Well, I was still in school at the time. So it was
How old were you at the time?
I was going to say, it was before I was 18.
Okay.
Because I went to school, that was Saturday night, Sunday night. I laid in bed and recovered, tried to, my knee
Monday morning, school's coming.
Monday morning, I go to school. I play basketball at lunch. Well, our science teacher was an EMT, and somebody told me about it, so I was like, I'll see if he can look at my knee and see if he can tell me anything about it. So I play basketball at lunch, and I go down there, and I sit down in a chair, and I'm like, hey, man, can you check my knee out and see if it's, anything seriously wrong, if you could tell. So he grabs my knee, and he separates my kneecap. He said, oh. I said, what? He's like, did that hurt? I said, it was kind of annoying, but, I don't know if it hurt.
Yeah.
He said, you shouldn't be able to walk. Like, it should...
So, did you walk in Monday morning fine? You're just like, hey, I'm just going to walk right in. I'm like, hey, good thing to me.
I limped in.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. Because of working every Saturday night, Sunday through Thursday, I'd be limping at school. Mm-hmm. Thursday, I felt great.
Yeah.
Friday morning, I felt great. Friday was the only day I felt good because Saturday I'd go in and do the same thing over. Mm-hmm. Limp the rest of the week up till Saturday and then do it all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went into school. I was limping around a little bit, but whatever. I played basketball, not just kind of shoot around, but actually played hard, played games for money. Then I go down there and he's like, you shouldn't be able to walk. Where'd you just come from? Where'd you just come from? He was like, playing basketball. He's like, oh, you shouldn't be able to do that. I'm like, I guess I got a high pain tolerance. I don't know. He's like, well, what do you do? I said, well, I get hit by chairs and tables. I go through tables. Oh, well, yeah, you'll be all right. It'll eventually calcium up and heal up. But yeah, you should be in pain. All right, man, thanks. I walked out and continued on. The next Saturday, I went in there and wrestled.
So you went in with a broken kneecap to go into the next weekend for the match.
Never stopped.
It was like, hey, I don't care.
And
it is what it is.
And that's actually, now that I think about it, because it hasn't been bothering me lately, but the worst injury I did was, it was a practice on Thursday, and a guy gave me a belly-to-back suplex, just straight up, straight down. Mm-hmm. But he didn't move his arm from out from underneath me. So I landed on his arm, and I strained and fractured all the lower part of my back. All I did was, I knew something was wrong because I couldn't breathe at first, and it just hurt really bad. Yeah. So I got out of the ring, and I sat down, and he grabbed my head because he didn't know anything was wrong, and he tries to pull me up, and I can't move. And I'm like, dude, I can't
Backs
stand
out.
up.
You're like, dude, I don't know.
There's something wrong. So, I, just kind of blow it off, go home on Thursday night, go to work Friday, can't move really, go get up Saturday and go to the show, and they tell me that this guy traveled all the way from Boston, Massachusetts, to come here and wrestle. And that's who I'm wrestling. So I'm like, well, fuck, I gotta have a banger of a match. He's traveling a long way. I ain't gonna waste his time.
Right, exactly. You gotta do the job,
Yeah. So I got to the point where my back was okay. I could move around and stuff. Well, my music hits. He's already in the ring. My music hits, and at the time I was doing like a Jericho entrance where I would slide on one knee on the apron, grab the middle rope, and then come up. Just that little jarring of me sliding on my knee and grabbing the rope and stopping threw my back out, basically. So I'm literally like hunched over trying to wrestle this match with this guy from Massachusetts, and I'm in so much pain. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, I go to the doctor, and he tells me that, you know, it looks like confetti in your back, and you strained all your lower back muscles like paper thin.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with that for the last 15 years.
I was gonna say, like, back injury, knee injuries are like the injuries that just stay with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I'm one that I don't go to the doctor.
Same.
I just don't.
Unless a limb is cut off, or I am in so much pain where, like, I want a shot of morphine or something to just get me through the night.
I'll figure a way around whatever I need to do to get the job done.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the one that's actually like, and every once in a while I'll even cough sometimes, and I'll feel it in my lower back, and I'm like, oh, and I just gotta stop. But it's because of the years of knowing what's happening. Basically, without knowing what's happening, is I can avoid actually getting put down. Because I used to be like, I would do something and I'd be down for like 3 days because I couldn't move. I couldn't bend over. It took me like a year and a half to be able to pick something up without squatting down.
Use the legs to like pick it up. Yeah.
I couldn't use my back at all for like a year and a half.
Mm.
And then I got it. I let it rest, I guess, and beat the shit out of it by wrestling because I never took a week off.
Yeah.
Even hurt, I still, once you go out through that curtain, you get feel that buzz of the crowd.
That adrenaline, man. That adrenaline is the best. I mean, whether it's music, wrestling, or whatever, because there was times where I was in so much pain for music. I suffered with a pinched nerve in my back. I was in a car wreck. My spine, we got those little pieces of the bone that go up, man. Crunched my spine crunched a nerve. You go through that curtain and it's go time. Yep. And you hear that crowd and you're like, I feel no pain at all. Yep. And I've always told people, and I'm sure you can agree, I've always told people that the greatest drug in the entire world is adrenaline from the crowd.
Yeah.
When you go out there, you're standing there in gorilla, you're standing there on the side of the stage, you're like, I'm about to do this in like 15 seconds. Man, I hurt so bad. But then you go out and you're like, I feel nothing. And then you go back through the curtain and you're like, fuck, I'm in so much fucking pain. This sucks.
You can have a thought of what it's going to be like before you go out there. Once you go out there, you feel your body. It's not like you're numb, like not like your arms and legs are asleep.
Yeah.
But you don't feel nothing.
Yeah.
You go out there and you embrace the energy that the crowd's giving to you. And when you do that, you can give it back to them, and that's when you know you have them.
Yeah.
Just like my entrance. I let the crowd give me the energy to give back to them.
Yep.
So
you want them to feed into you.
Once they start buzzing a little bit, and then my music hits to the point where I'm ready to go, then that's when they come up. Yeah. But at first, it's that little buzz, that little tingle. You'll get that, and then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, it's go time. Now let's kick it into gear.
Yeah.
Now it's time to go.
Because watching you go through the curtain, because I've been fortunate enough to be back behind the curtain, and then watch you stand in front of that curtain, anarchy gear on, you're ready to go, man. And then that music hits. And before we wind this down the next few moments, I do want to talk about the song, because I know we brought it up earlier in this interview. You do come out to Just Incredible.
Yes.
It is a banger of a fucking song and true fucking story. We were in Michigan here, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, something like that. I used to come out to Call to Personality, CM Punk's song. That's what everybody says it is. It's CM Punk's song. It's Living Color. I used to bang that shit out when I used to work out and be in shape before the old beer belly hit. But Stone Cold nowadays. Right. But man, we got to hear Call to Personality and Just Incredible's music, and that was before we walked into the arena.
Yeah.
We just kind of knew, like, we were hanging out in your vehicle, in your car, and just chilling, going over stuff, and we were like, you had the radio cranked, and then Call of Personality hit, and then Just Incredible's music hit, and it was like, it's gonna be a good night, man.
Yeah.
This is kind of a sign from like the wrestling gods,
Right,
if you will.
yeah.
You know, it's gonna be a good night. But yeah, man, let's talk about the music, man, because obviously, you know, you come out to Just Incredible's music. I have been on both sides of the curtain. I've been on the side of the curtain with the fans and watched you come out to it. I've been fortunate enough to sit in the back and watch you get prepped and ready to go. I actually have a photo of you. I never did send it to you, but I will make sure I send it to you of you lacing your boots. There was a moment I had to fanboy out and be like, I'm going to catch him in this moment. It was Raven effect, if you will, you know, like in a corner by yourself getting ready for a match. But yeah, man, the music, what's the music do for you, man? Like as far as like when you hear your music, you're back there. Because I've seen you, I know how you are, but the fans don't. So explain to the fans, you're at Gorilla, music hits, man. It's time to go.
Like I said, all my songs are really bass driven, and it's a heavy bass in the songs. Something you can tap your foot to, move your hand to, move your head to. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just listening to the song. Like, I like the song.
Yeah.
Like, Prongs, Snap Your Fingers is a song that I will listen to at home. It's not just an entrance song, but it's a song, and I'll catch myself. I'll be smoking a cigarette, just got out of the shower, getting ready to get in the shower, something. It'll come on. I'll be fucking moving my head to it.
Yeah.
I'll be moving my foot without realizing I'm moving my foot. I will see myself behind the curtain messing with people. And that's another thing that guys have asked me. What do you think of before you go out? What's your thought process before you go through the curtain? I'm trying to mess with you and have a good time before. You know? Whenever I know that the song's almost ready for me to go out, you know, it's dun, 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 dun. You know, I'm pointing around, I'm fucking dancing around, I'm having a good time. And then I come out and it's 2 fingers up for the victory and 4 down for life. Yeah. And then I see what the fans want to do, and then I tell them what they're going to do.
See, and that's the thing too. Like, I love how you phrase that. You say, you know, like, I know what the fans want to do, but I'm going to tell them what to do. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I love about you, man. Like, you come out, you do your thing, you lead the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. You know, being a 20-year plus veteran, you know what I mean? You're able to, you know, have that and be like, all right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out. Like, I'm working as a heel tonight, so I'm going to go out. They're going to hate me before it's over with. There's a story of the last time we were all in AWE, man, that crowd fucking hated you. I mean, absolutely hated you. They did not like you. All right, man, we're gonna wind this down, man. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much, man. Again, this has been an experience. This has been something, and I know, man, we could probably go on for another 3-4 hours. But due to YouTube restrictions, I gotta keep this shit, you know, where it is. So I want to do this. I want to go ahead and say, before we take this shot, I want you to keep this one. I know you already have it, but you can say it came from me.
All right.
And I would like for you, if you don't mind, to sign that one. And that will go into a frame, and that will be in my personal wrestling collection forever.
I think, because this is take 2, but we won't get into that.
We won't get into that. Yeah.
No.
This is technically take 2.
But
I fucked up. Don't worry.
This right here is, like I was talking about earlier too, is I was told not to do this.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I want you to sign
the one regret that I have in all of my wrestling, mainly, I didn't have Raven sign this picture when I had it taken. Like, it's cool to have that Polaroid picture.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Take the picture, it pops out.
That's a whole different picture right there.
That's how old it is.
If you don't shake it, you may get a picture. You know what I mean?
But that's really the main thing that I regret that I didn't do was actually get his autograph. Even if it just said, okay, it's just gonna say Raven, but still. I didn't do that, and that's the one thing. That's one of the things that I really regret in wrestling is not actually letting my hero be my hero.
Yeah. Well, it was like, damn, I was lucky enough to get the picture I wish I could have got the autograph.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, dude, I'll tell you what. That's the reason I want you to sign that one. Like I said, you can keep the one of him raising your hand. I think that's badass. It's basically him saying, hey, you're still the champion. When I got those printed off, I wanted you to sign that one because here's my thing. If I ever meet Raven, I can have him sign that photograph, and I got the two guys in the same photograph. Regardless, that'll be put in a frame. That'll be put in my office, in my new office. That will be something for me. And hell, maybe I'll print off another one. You can sign another one, you know, keep that one. If you ever meet Raven again, man, you get that damn autograph.
Right.
But yeah, man, like I said, it's been a blast, man. I appreciate you coming on. As he signs this, we'll have Danger sign the table. Danger will actually be the last person to sign the table. If you guys follow me on social media, you guys know that I'm moving, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna be moving, so it's gonna be really cool, man. I'm gonna come back with episode 5 of season 3. I'm gonna take a month off. I have a really cool guest. She has been on the show before. I will give you that. She will be the first lady to be on the show twice. Fuck it, I'm gonna announce it, man. Megan Massacre, Meg Slusher, my good friend. Beautiful, gorgeous as she can be. She is a horror queen herself. She is the horror queen, and I can't wait to bring season 3, episode 5 to you guys. Justin Danger just signed the table. This set's done, man. The next time you guys see me, this will be gone. It'll be a whole new setup. I'm gonna give out a couple shout outs really quick, and then the man who just signed the table for the last time, this table will be retired. It will be hung on my wall in my new office, and you may or may not see it on an SWS promo or vignette. Who knows? I don't know. But like I said, brother, thank you so much, man. It's been a blast. Special thanks really quick, and then he can give out a special thanks. I just want to say first and foremost, SWS was a dream. It was something I wanted to do, man, after music, and I've been so fortunate and blessed. Man, thank you guys so much. I want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife, mother-to-be, to Ramona Louise Joe Timmons, my beautiful wife, Emmy Jane Timmons. You can check her out at Sheer Salon. That's on Facebook. Again, that's Sheer Salon. Get your hair cut. If you see her out at Walmart doing motherly duties, give her a too sweet for me. I want to give a shout out to Joshua Grove, Riot Stickers. They made the OG SWS banner. There will be a new banner coming. But again, if you guys are in a band, you guys are pro wrestlers, obviously. You need stickers, you need t-shirts, you need trucker hats, you need snapback hats, whatever you need. Hit up Joshua Grove and Riot Stickers. You can find them at riotstickers.com or Riot Stickers on Facebook. Obviously, we work for the company, so who would I be if I didn't do this shout out to AACW Professional Wrestling. Much love, guys. You can find them on Facebook also at AACW Old School Lives. Again, that's Facebook, AACW Old School Lives. We were talking about Rod Street, so shout out to AWE, American Wrestling Experience. You can find them on Facebook. And I'd be a terrible good brother and a terrible friend if I didn't give a shout out to The Click. And you know who you are, Ryan, David, Travis, myself, brothers. That's just too sweet. I'm going to shoot it to Justin Danger. Brother, the show is yours. Shout outs, let them roll.
Hey, man, all I got to do is say I appreciate everything. You know, this has been a blast. Everybody in the Indiana area, check out AACW next weekend. Kokomo, Indiana. Anybody in Michigan area, check out in Jackson, Michigan, AWE. I mean, 2 hot shows in the same weekend. You can't go wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Brother, it's been a pleasure. I will say this. Cheers to you, my good brother. Thank you guys again. I'll see you soon with a whole new setup for SWS. That's me, the ghost with the most. Shootin' with Shane, episode 4. And that's just... I'll do it for you. It's a little Scott Hall. And that's just... too sweet.